A race against time. Bennett's words hit me like a kick to the stomach. Crush the pack. Horror twisted in my blood, I whispered. It feels like my heart is going to burst out of my chest. I'm not alone anymore. Victor isn't merely chasing me. He is chasing everyone, each and every one. Bennett is standing a few feet away, his attitude serious. His eyes are gloomy and dark with sorrow or regret. I am unable to tell. Yes, he answers softly but with a shiver of certainty. Aurora, he will attack soon, and everyone you care about will perish if you don't stop him. My throat tightens every breath. The world seems to have fallen away from under me. I feel as though my legs could fall at any time. The seriousness of what he's saying is beyond my understanding. Victor's goal is to destroy everyone. Callum, my pals, my pack. I turn to face Callum, and my eyes lock with his angry, protective look. I can nearly hear his teeth grinding together because of how tightly his jaw is locked. His body language is screaming protective as he takes a step closer. He is willing to participate in battle in order to protect the pen myself. Are you certain? With my voice wavering due to the immense rush of feelings within me, I ask Bennett. Even though I don't want to trust him, I can't afford to ignore the facts. Bennett nods slowly, carefully, and with a weight that makes the nearby air seem heavy. If I wasn't sure, I wouldn't have come here. Victor's plan is begun. The moment he hits, you will lose everything. Like a death sentence, his words hang in the air. When everything seems to be going out of control, Callum's warm and strong hand finds its way into mine, grounding me. Callum adds in a low, determined voice, "We'll stop him." His tone is one of raw, uncompromising determination rather than fear. We must. Even if I am boosted by his trust, the fear nevertheless sticks to my bones like ice. How can Victor be stopped? He's constantly one step ahead of me and one step closer to ruining all I hold dear. And this now, it seems unbeatable. What is he planning exactly? Desperate to find answers, I ask for anything that will help us fight back. I'm too scared to notice that my voice sounds sharper than I meant. Bennett pauses, his gaze moving between Callum and me as if he's considering the importance of the fact. Aurora, Victor is not merely planning your death. He has been involved in a far more complex project. He will aim the heart of the group. He tries to weaken the pack's internal power and authority. The pack will collapse without your alpha and your fighters. My stomach sinks. He is pursuing the alpha. As my voice falters, I feel Callum's hand clenching around mine. Yes, Bennett answers in a sad tone. He won't stop there either. He will kill the rest after the government is ousted. Nobody will be safe. Not even women, kids, or the old. I feel ill to my stomach after hearing what he said. Like a huge wave, the icy terror of it sweeps across me. How could he? The weight of it all is so heavy that I can hardly talk. Why? Bennett's voice becomes angry, and his face hardens. Victor wants power, complete command. Nothing will stop him now that the pack is gone. Everything will be ruled by him. Callum advances, his stance stiff with rage. I refuse to allow that to occur. Before I allow him to hurt Aurora or anybody else, I will die. I am both comforted and scared by the confidence in his voice. The chance that we might lose him in this fight. I feel the steady beating of Callum's heart beneath my fingers as I reach up and place a palm on his chest. I try to avoid the increasing fear as I whisper, "We'll stop him together. We'll keep the pack safe." His eyes briefly soften as he touches the side of my face with his free hand, the thumb gently grazing my cheek as he looks down at me. In the middle of the chaos, his promise that I won't let anything happen to you feels like a lifesaver. He gives me a light kiss on the forehead that lasts longer than I expected, an unspoken promise that we will work through this together. Even while I would like to hold on to that feeling, Bennett's warning is too sharp and harsh to ignore. Our time is getting short. Victor will win if we don't take quick action. He'll accept anything. With a stronger voice, I turn back to Bennett. What should we do? Bennett adds, "We must attack first," and takes a step forward. However, more than just the two of you will be needed. You need fighters and friends. The rest of the pack is important. Additionally, you must move quickly before Victor finds that you are aware of his plan. My chest is pounding with my heart. Everything seems too difficult and impossible. However, having Callum by my side helps me stay grounded and tells me that we have each other. That's fine. It must be. With a strong and powerful voice, Callum says, "We'll get the pack ready. I'll assemble the fighters and we'll ensure Victor doesn't have an opportunity to strike." Something that I can't quite identify, perhaps reluctance, flickers in Bennett's gaze. He speaks carefully as if he's considering sharing. There's something else. Someone close to you is not who you believe them to be. His words make my blood run cold, and I feel a knot in my gut from fear. "What do you mean?" I ask, hardly raising my voice above a whisper. I can feel the tightness in Bennett's stance and the way his eyes change. "Aurora, someone you trust. A member of the pack. Victor has been getting information from them." I feel as though the earth is tilting beneath me. "No, that isn't possible," I mumble. "You're lying." But the suspicion is already starting to grow. Who might it be? Who would do us such a betrayal? Bennett gives a headshake. "I wish I was. But Aurora, you must take care. Nobody around you can be trusted, not with what's on the way." As distrust and fear seethe beneath my skin, my heart thuds in my chest. My thoughts are racing as I look at Callum. Could it be a close member? We allowed someone in? Callum's jaw tightens and his eyes darken. With a determined tone, he says, "We'll figure out who it is. And they'll pay for their treachery when we do." However, as we get ready for the upcoming battle, a constant thought that Bennett might be right starts to sneak into my thoughts. Someone I've always trusted, someone close to me, may be hiding something. And we might lose everything if I don't name the person before it's too late. A heart divided. The room seems oppressively tight. With our hands securely clenched together as if the tie were enough to hold us planted, Callum and I stand side by side. However, the weight of everything hangs down on me like a thick fog, regardless of how tightly I cling to that warmth. For individuals I care about, every decision we make might be the difference between life and death, and the tension is intolerable. I can feel my chest becoming tighter as we start strategizing how to reply to Victor's attack. As he provides guidance and advice, Callum's voice is solid and steady, and I can tell he's doing all he can to keep me safe. But every time I talk or look at Bennett, I'm reminded of an old grief I thought I had long ago forgotten. The sensations swirling in my chest are bewildering and disturbing. I thought that I had moved on. I assumed I had ignored Bennett. But now that he's so close, those memories are emerging and fighting to grab a footing. I can't get rid of Bennett's presence like a shadow. He stays close to me, his stare never leaving mine, as if he were begging with me in quiet to hear something. Something I'm not sure I'm ready to hear. Between the guy at my side and the one who broke me, my heart is racing in my chest. I blink as Callum's voice drags me back and murmurs, "Aurora." I know he's waiting for me to answer. His brow is furrowed with concern. He squeezes my hand and asks quietly, "Are you okay?" I nod and fake a faint grin. Yes, I'm okay. Simply, a lot to ponder. I can see the worry in his eyes, even if he doesn't push. Even if I'm not ready to recognize it, Callum can sense something is wrong because he knows me too well. Even if I don't fathom what's going in my mind, I wish I could explain it. I can feel Bennett's focused attention on me as we continue to speak about the plan, and it makes my skin quiver. I give him a short look, and our gazes contact. There is something unspoken in the way he glances at me, something solemn and sorrowful, and his face is pained and full of guilt. Bennett seizes the chance to approach me when Callum takes a minute to chat with another member of the pack. I have to fight the desire to take a step back and keep some space from you as my heart skips a beat. Bennett says Aurora in a voice that only I can hear. His tone has a sense of desperation which causes my chest tightness even more. I have something to tell you. I attempt to shelter myself from whatever he's going to say by crossing my arms. Bennett, what is that? Right now, we are somewhat in the middle of a crisis. I understand, he answers, peering into my eyes as if he's straining to find the perfect words. However, this cannot wait. His voice is full of passion as he approaches closer. My love for you, Aurora, never diminished. I need you to be aware of it. The statements were like a kick to the gut. I feel as if I've been transported back in time, and my breath catches rewind to the moments when Bennett was everything to me, and I placed all of my faith in him, just to have it crushed. With my throat constricted by the whirlwind of sensations he's igniting inside me, I shake my head. Bennett, it's too late for that, I comment in a voice that is nearly audible. You caused me pain. You went out. I can't just ignore it either. I see the sadness rush over his face as his eyes darken with humiliation. His voice is laden with sorrow as he says, I know I hurt you, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. However, I want you to know that my affections for you have never lessened, not for a second. I take a deep breath and try not to panic. This isn't the proper timing. Our objective should be to stop Victor and focus on the pack. Instead, I'm standing here, facing the guy who used to mean the world to me, immersed in the tidal waves of my past. I say, my voice quivering with rage, you don't get to come back into my life and act like nothing happened. After everything, you have no right to tell me you still love me. Bennett takes a step closer, his expression beseeching. I am conscious that I am not worthy of your forgiveness, Aurora. But I left for a cause, and I would take it all back if I could. My mind is racing and my heart is throbbing in my chest. There is a part of me that wants to believe him, to fall into his arms, and to behave as if everything might return to normal. The stronger half, however, recalls the pain, the betrayal, and how I had to pick myself up after it. I murmur, I can't, and shake my head. I can't experience that again. Bennett's visage suddenly dims, and I can see the sheer guilt and misery there. With a tiny crack in his voice, he says gently, I understand. However, Aurora, I'll always be here for you, regardless. I force myself to turn aside as I take a shuddering breath. This is too much for me to take at this moment. With everything else at risk, no. Bennett leans closer, his breath warm on my ear, just as I feel we're done talking. The words that follow disrupt the thin peace I had been hanging onto as his voice falls to a barely discernible whisper. Aurora, you must be aware of something. Your family was ruined because of me. The world appeared to halt. My breath is stolen away by the weight of his disclosure as my heart slams into my chest. No, it isn't feasible. I froze, the words continually repeating in my thoughts. What? With my hands trembling and my voice wobbling, I managed to croak out. Bennett takes a step back, his face distorted in misery, but his eyes reveal the truth. It was my fault, Aurora, he adds in a contrite tone. I was involved, even though I never planned for it to happen. It wasn't until it was too late that I discovered what Victor had intended. I'm to blame. Yet I never wanted any of this. The ground seems to be slipping away from under my feet. As the full gravity of what he said hits in, my chest tightened and I felt terrible. My family was wrecked because of Bennett, the guy I once loved and who now stands in front of me with a sad heart. He is the source of all the misery, sadness, and betrayal I have faced for a very long time. I'm having difficulties breathing. I am unable to think. All around me, my world is coming apart, and I don't know how to put it back together. Callum comes back just as I'm about to say anything, yell, or demand an explanation, and his eyes instantly focus on the tension between Bennett and me. His voice is rough with fear as he adds, "What's going on?" However, I am mute. I am unable to look at him. Bennett's sad revelation and how it has devastated my heart are all I can think about. The ultimate betrayal. Everything around me is poisoned by Bennett's words, which linger in the air like a curse. I suddenly lose my capacity to breathe as my heart thuds forcefully in my chest. As his revelation sets in, the ground wobbles under me, sending the sword of betrayal even farther into my heart. Unable to take my eyes off of him, I take an unsteady step back. You did this, did you? His statements have upset me so badly that my voice cracks. My family was destroyed because of you. Bennett's eyes implore me to understand and forgive him as his face contorted with humiliation. However, how can I? How am I ever going to forgive such a thing? The guy I once loved is now standing in front of me, recognizing that he contributed to the devastation of my family and my world. Bennett adds, I didn't know, in a voice that is hardly audible, as if raising his voice may fracture the tiny thread of control I'm holding to. Aurora, I had no clue it would end this way. Victor took advantage of me and manipulated me. I'd like to assume he's genuine. Perhaps the part of me that still has sentiments for the boy I once loved wants to think that he was a pawn in Victor's cunning plot and that he didn't mean for this to occur. But my wrath, disbelief, and the suffocating weight of his treachery are drowning the rest of me. Disturbed? I shouted again, my voice trembling with wrath. You were exploited by Victor? Is that your justification? As the tears I've been repressing start to blur my vision, my hands at my sides clamp into fists. Are you even aware of what you did? Are you aware of what I lost as a consequence of you? Bennett comes with a frantic expression on his face. Please, Aurora. I had no clue. I interrupt, saying, don't. You dare not try to rationalize this. Bennett, you engaged in it. You share Victor's degree of guilt. No, his face shifts as he glances down, a flash of guilt passing over his features. It becomes worse somehow as he no longer fights or attempts to defend himself. Our silence is like 1,000 sharp swords piercing through my heart, one after the other. The weight of everything pushes down on me, constricting my chest until I can hardly stand. I used to be everything to the guy in front of me, the one who has damaged me so much. I was passionately in love with him, and now that same heart is shattering once again, breaking into bits that I may never be able to rebuild. I blink desperately to prevent the tears from spilling from my eyes as they fill up. In front of him, I don't want to weep. I don't want him to know how saddened I am by this. However, the betrayal is too severe and the anguish is too tremendous. Bennett, you don't get to hurt her again. Callum's deep, frightening voice pierces the thick tension. He had positioned himself between us, his stance stiff, as if he were preparing for a war, but I had no clue he was that close. His protective stance and the wrath in his eyes are everything I need at the time, and everything I was unaware I was holding to. When Bennett's eyes move to Callum, a short glimmer of envy, fury, or remorse comes on his face. It's there, lurking under the surface, but I can't really tell. Bennett responds, I never wanted to hurt her, in a tense tone. I've loved her forever. Love? The word feels nasty on my mouth as I spit it out. You refer to this as love? Bennett, you wrecked everything. You devastated my life and my family. How are you even able to say that? The subsequent quiet is suffocating. As I try to suppress the tidal wave of emotions that is flooding through me, my chest rises and falls with heavy, erratic breaths. Pain, perplexity, and fury. I no longer know how to feel. I simply know that the guy in front of me is not the Bennett I used to know. He is presently unknown. My world was ripped apart by a stranger. Callum takes me a step closer, his fingers stretching to delicately caress my arm. He provides as a grounded reminder that I'm not the only one going through this, knowing I'm not alone in coping with this betrayal. With a troubled tone, he says, Aurora, here, we must keep the bigger picture in mind. Victor is still out there. We cannot allow him to prevail. Despite the words sounding empty in my chest, I nod. Callum is right. More than simply Bennett's treachery, and my sentiments are on the line. But at the moment, it's difficult to see past the hurt and consider anything other than the open wound caused by Bennett's revelation. Bennett moves forward before I can finish speaking, his hand extending as though to touch me, but then he pauses and returns it to his side. Aurora, he repeats, his voice hardly audible above a whisper. I never intended for this to occur. I was attempting to keep you safe and secure. I believed that I was acting appropriately. I shake my head as waves of astonishment sweep over me. You believed you were acting appropriately? I have unshed tears in my voice. How are you even able to say that? With regret in his eyes, he confesses, I was foolish. I made a very bad error, but Aurora, you must trust me. None of this is what I ever wanted. I never intended to cause you harm. However, he did. He caused me more pain than I ever imagined, more than anyone else ever could. And now that I'm standing here listening to his justifications and efforts to improve things, it only makes them worse. My voice cracks as I murmur, I can't do this. I am unable to forgive you. Bennett recoils, his eyes mirroring my own agony. But before he can speak, a sound pierces the forest's calm. Steps. The sound of heavy, determined footsteps resonated through the woods, increasing louder by the second. Callum's body tenses suddenly as his head jerks up. He answers in a gruff, hurried voice. They found us. The army of Victor. I feel a surge of terror, the situation's weight suddenly crashing down on me. This is not something we have time for. My broken heart and Bennett's regret are not things we have time for. We're running out of time and a conflict is imminent. Get moving. The sound of footfall comes closer and louder, and Callum takes my hand and drags me along with him as he growls. My heart is hammering in panic as the bush around us looks alive with malice. I can't think about Bennett at the time, but he appears instantly behind me, his face blanched. The only thing I can think about is survival. Victor's army has come, and if we don't act swiftly, none of us will live. We was surrounded by enemies. As we run through the woodland, Callum's hand firmly holding mine, the tension in the air is palpable. Every stride Victor's army takes gets louder and closer, until I can hear it echoing in my ears. The trees appear to close in, winding around us like a prison, and my heart thuds in my chest. "We must continue to move," Callum exhorts in a stern yet quiet voice. Even though I can feel the weight of the looming conflict bearing down on us, his eyes spark with resolve. I nod, but my body is exhausted from the mental maelstrom roiling inside of me as much as the running, and my legs feel heavy. Though Bennett's revelation still taints my thoughts like a poison, I can't afford to be weak right now. Not when we are about to die. The rustle of leaves in front of me abruptly stops me in my tracks. As others start to appear out of the darkness, I know what's happening and my blood chills. Victor's outlaws. They are present. There were dozens of them, encircling us from all sides and obstructing our escape. Fear makes my stomach turn into knots, and the forest seems to be getting smaller and darker, as though it were closing in on us. We're confined. Squeezing my hand, Callum casts a shrewd, calculating glance around at the rogues. Despite the danger all around us, he says in a firm voice, "We fight together." His body is tense as he pulls me behind him, prepared to defend me with all of his might. His presence, like a barrier between me and the outside world, makes my heart hurt, but I can't leave him to deal with this on his own. I won't. Bennett moves forward before I can say anything, looking first at Callum and then at me. His eyes are shaded by remorse, but there's certainly something else there, too. Determination. His jaw is clenched. His voice is forceful as he states, "We cannot win this unless we cooperate." Bennett's remarks cause Callum's body to tense up, and I can sense the tension between them building like a raging storm. Even though the actual adversary is just in front of us, they are two alpha males who are prepared to destroy one another as they stand there glaring at one another. We don't have time for this. I move forward to position myself between them, and even though my voice is trembling, it is powerful enough to break the thick quiet. I look at them both and say, "We don't have time to argue. We won't make it through this if we don't fight together." I can see the sadness engraved on Bennett's face as his eyes soften slightly when they meet mine. He starts to say, "Aurora," in a low voice, but I stop him by raising a hand. "Not right now," I answer, my voice firm. "You'll tell me everything after this is over, but we fight right now." I can tell that Callum understands even though his expression is unreadable, as his eyes dart to me. When Victor's army is all around us, we cannot afford to let our feelings influence our decisions. The tension between Bennett and Callum simmers but doesn't explode as he nods and takes a step back. Both of them are aware that there are more important issues at hand, even though it lingers like a thin line that is about to break. The rogues begin to approach, their eyes shining with ill intent as we brace ourselves. The dark energy that seems to follow Victor at all times is emanating from them, and I can feel it. Despite my racing heart, I make myself remain composed. Right now, I can't allow fear to control me. With a somber tone, Callum states, "We'll have to break through their line." To fight them all at once is impossible. Bennett takes a step forward, looking around at the adversaries. "I'll take the lead. You two can flee if I can divert their attention." "No," I say sharply, my stomach churning at the idea of Bennett getting hurt by flinging himself into the battle. Despite everything he's done, I don't want him to die. Not in this manner. We stick together. Callum looks at me, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Aurora, we don't have a choice." Before he can finish, a chilling voice cuts through the air, freezing me in place. "This ends tonight, Aurora." The sound of Victor's voice sends a shiver down my spine, and I whirl around, my eyes locking onto the figure emerging from the shadows. Victor steps forward, his dark, cruel eyes fixed on me, a twisted smile curling on his lips. His presence fills the clearing, oppressive and terrifying. "Victor," I breathe, my blood running cold. I knew he would come for me eventually, but seeing him here now, so close, is enough to make my heart skip a beat. Callum steps protectively in front of me, his muscles coiled, ready to strike. "Stay back," he growls, his voice low and dangerous. Victor's smile only widens as he surveys the scene, his eyes flicking over Callum and Bennett before settling back on me. "You really thought you could escape me?" he taunts, his voice dripping with malice. "You should know better by now, Aurora. There's no running from me." My breath catches in my throat, fear curling around my heart, but I can't let him see how much he terrifies me. I won't give him that satisfaction. I lift my chin, meeting his gaze with as much defiance as I can muster. "You're not going to win, Victor," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. His eyes flash with amusement. "Oh, but I already have," he says smoothly. "Look around you, Aurora. You're surrounded. There's no way out." I glance around, my heart sinking as I see the rogues closing in even tighter. Victor's right, we're completely outnumbered, but that doesn't mean I'm giving up. Not yet. Callum's hand tightens on mine, and I can feel the tension radiating from him. He's ready to fight, ready to protect me with everything he has. And Bennett, despite everything that's happened, stands by my side, his eyes filled with determination. "We're not going down without a fight," I say, my voice fierce. I don't know where the strength comes from, but it pours through me like a fire, burning away the fear. Victor's smile fades, his eyes hardening. "You're a fool, Aurora. You always have been." Before I can react, he raises his hand, alerting his rogues to assault. My heart racing as the first wave of them comes toward us, their snarls filling the air. Callum moves first, his body a blur as he dives at the nearest rogue, his fists hitting with devastating force. Bennett isn't far behind, his actions swift and deliberate as he takes down another. I hardly have time to ponder when a rogue lunges at me, his eyes flashing with bloodlust. Panic pours through me, but I force myself to move, ducking just in time to dodge his claws. My body moves on instinct, driven by adrenaline as I swing my arm, landing a punch that sends him stumbling back. It's anarchy all around me, growls, snarls, fists, and claws flying in every direction. But despite the madness, we fight as one, each of us holding our ground, refusing to give in. Victor watches from the sidelines, his eyes gleaming with cruel satisfaction as his army surrounds us, but I can see something else in his gaze, a flicker of frustration, of impatience. He wants this to end, and he wants it to end now, but we're not going down that easily. As I dodge another attack, my breath ragged, I lock eyes with Callum, and in that moment something passes between us, an unspoken understanding. We've come too far to lose now. Victor may think he's triumphed, but the war is far from done. Battle for the pack. The night devolves into mayhem. The air is filled with growls and snarls as bodies collide, claws tearing through fur, fangs digging into flesh. Blood is all over the woodland floor, and the smell is overpowering. A rogue lunges at me, its eyes blazing with bloodlust before I can even react. Callum moves like a blur and slams a vicious blow into it before it can get to me. With a shriek of anguish, the rogue falls to the ground as his claws sever its side. He doesn't think twice. With one more deadly strike, he completes the job and turns to face me. "Stay close," he growls, looking over the battlefield with his golden gaze. "I won't let them touch you." I tighten my hold on my dagger and nod. Bennett, on the other hand, battles like a man under a spell. His movements are precise, his strikes are powerful, and each attack is planned for maximum damage. Tonight, he is different. He doesn't hesitate or let any residual feelings stop him. With every enemy he defeats, it seems as though he is attempting to atone for his transgressions. But Bennett isn't on my mind at the moment. Not when I sense someone on the other side of the battlefield staring at me. Victor. Despite the destruction all around him, he remains motionless. His black eyes are fixed on me like I'm his prey, and his lips form a lazy, contented smile. My stomach knots up. Even though my body is screaming for me to move and fight, I can't take my eyes off of him as I tighten my hold on my weapon. Victor makes slow, methodical steps toward me and says, "You can't escape this, Aurora," his voice echoing the sounds of combat. "You belong to me." My breath catches. My heart is tightly squeezed by the words as they creep around it. I take a step back and shake my head. "I will never belong to you." The dark, knowing sound of his laughter. "Oh, but you do. Our course has already been decided by fate, whether you agree with it or not, and you are aware of it. Anger erupts within me. You're delusional." Victor pauses a few steps away, his eyes bright with something more, possession, but his face remains composed. "Am I?" A deep, dangerous growl rumbles next to me. Callum moves ahead of me, keeping me out of Victor's line of sight with his stiff body. His posture exudes lethal purpose as his claws flex at his sides. With an angry tone, Callum growls, "She will never be yours." Victor remains unflinching. His eyes dart between us as though he's amused, and his smirk just gets bigger. "You think you can protect her from me?" He studies Callum with a small twist of his head. "That's adorable." With his muscles taut and poised for assault, Callum lets out a growl. However, Victor doesn't even get ready for battle. He simply waits and observes, calculates. And I'm more afraid of that than anything else. Because Victor always has a plan before acting. The gleam in his eyes and the way his smirk hardly wavers are what I observe next. He's not here to fight. He has another reason for being here, something private. It hits me like a tidal wave of realization. This goes beyond retaliation or strength. It's about me. Victor has more in mind than simply destroying my pack. He's trying to take me, and Callum leaps at him before I can even open my mouth, much alone respond. Then, from behind, a renegade strikes. A huge wolf roars toward me, its eyes wild with the promise of death, its teeth bared, and I turn around, my breath clutching in my throat. I don't have time to reflect, too busy to call for assistance. I'm by myself. I also have to battle. I roll to the side as the rogue's jaws snap inches from my face, almost avoiding in time. Even though my heart is racing, I make myself concentrate. I catch the rogue across the muzzle of my dagger as I slash upward. Despite its angry cries, it doesn't slow down. When it lunges once more, blood pours from its muzzle. I sidestep this time, slamming my blade into its side. The wolf yells as if it has been strangled, yet its rage outweighs its suffering. The violent twisting knocks me off my feet. My lungs were robbed of breath as I struck the ground with force. In a matter of seconds, the rogue has me pinned down. It snaps at my throat, its hot, foul breath fanning over my face. I thrust my arm in between us, just managing to prevent its teeth from digging into my skin. "Aurora!" Panic fills Callum's voice as it echoes. I am eager for assistance. I scream in desperation and raise my free hand to pick up my blade from the floor. With all my remaining might, I drive it into the rogue's chest. A broken snarl escapes its throat as it stiffens. Then, like lifeless weight bearing down on me, it collapses. Gasping for air, I push it away. Victor grins broadly as he observes. "Very impressive. However, you're squandering your energy. I already have this battle." Wiping blood and perspiration off my cheeks, I stumble to my feet. "You think you've won?" I spit. "You underestimate me." Victor laughs ominously. "No, sweetheart, I am fully aware of your abilities, and for that reason, you are mine." Anger flares within me, but before I can react, the battlefield is ripped apart by a thunderous snarl. In a vicious flurry of claws and fangs, Callum and Victor clash. Victor, however, is playing with Callum and easily avoiding his assaults rather than battling to kill. Then Victor grabs Callum by the throat before I can react. "No!" Another rogue stops me and slams into my side as I scream and lunge forward. With my head whirling, I struck the ground hard. I can barely stand up as pain shoots through my rib cage. Then I hear it. A crunch that makes you nauseous. Victor's hands cause Callum's body to fall limp. I'm overcome with terror. My throat tightens every breath. Victor turns to face me with a victorious expression. "Now," he whispers, "let's put an end to this." A desperate fight. As it charges with its teeth bared and saliva streaming from its mouth, the rogue's eyes pierce mine. I automatically sidestep, my heart hammering against my ribs, but the beast is faster than I thought. The air is knocked out of my lungs as it crashes into me. Pain shooting through my chest, I fight to stay upright as the forest spins. The rogue is unrelenting as I swing my knife, aiming for its throat. Snarling, it dodges and pushes me back toward the trees. The impact's force causes my eyesight to blur, and for a split second, I worry that I won't survive this battle. My feet slip on the blood-slick floor as I scramble. Even if my breathing is labored, I don't give up and continue to move. It's no longer just about me. It's about defending my pack and those who have battled beside me. I cannot allow Victor to triumph. I lift my dagger, the blade gleaming in the moonlight. As the rogue lunges once more, I swing it as hard as I can with what little strength I have left. A deep gash is caused when the point strikes the rogue's side. I feel a moment of relief as it stumbles backward and cries in agony. However, such respite is fleeting. Beside me, a flurry of movement occurs, and all of a sudden the rogue is no longer a danger. In the confusion of combat, Bennett's figure looms, his body a shadowy darkness. With ruthless accuracy, he cuts through the rogue's side with his claws before it falls to the ground, lifeless. My breath catches as a sudden surge of relief washes over me. Confusion and something more profound, something unadulterated, quickly take its place, though. Bennett's amber eyes meet me. Something is flashing there, guilt, feeling sorry, I am unable to tell. His breathing is shallow and his face is strained as he approaches me. His voice is scratchy as he continues, "I won't let them take you, Aurora. Not again." His remarks were like a kick to the stomach. Everything that has happened and everything he has said weighs heavily on me. My heart tightens. I can't deny the part of me that recalls the betrayal, but I want to feel secure and like he's really on my side. The part of me that recalls his silent departure. I try to catch my breath and take a step back. I try not to tremble as I mutter, "You can't just show up now, Bennett." But my voice is shaking. After everything, following all of the falsehoods, sharp and jagged, the bitterness that has been accumulating inside of me comes out. I notice the twinge of agony in Bennett's eyes as his jaw tenses. I understand. I apologize as well. I shouldn't have gone. It's not about us, though. The goal is to save everyone we care about. Time pauses for a moment, but the war continues all around us. I'm conflicted. Even though the old pain still hurts my heart, I can't help but feel drawn to him. In spite of all I've told myself, it draws me in like a magnetic force. However, a loud voice breaks through the confusion before I can even react or understand my feelings. Aurora. With my blood running cold, I freeze. Dark and powerful, Victor's voice reverberates through the woodland like a blade. My eyes dart to him, and he's there, towering over the carnage, staring at me as if I were his prey. Despite the chaos all around him, he stands like a king amid wolves. A smug smirk curls his lips. "I'll spare them if you accompany me right now, Aurora. Every one of them." My heart pauses for a second. Suffocating and thick, the words linger in the air. I keep thinking about his offer, a horrible temptation that feels like it might tear me to pieces. He is taking advantage of all of my uncertainties and fears. He's giving me an opportunity to put an end to this horror and save the people I love. But at what price? Bennett's body stiffens next to me, his neck muscles straining, his claws tightening at his sides. He is prepared for combat. I'm unable to concentrate on him at the moment, but I can feel the heat of his anger coming from him. Not when Victor is giving me everything I've ever desired, including the end of this conflict and the protection of my pack. His words weigh heavily on me, choking me with the choice I don't want to make. I look across the battlefield at Callum. His golden eyes, brimming with grief and warning, meet mine. He is aware of Victor's potential. He is aware that Victor won't follow through on his promises, even if I agree. However, there is a part of me that wants to trust him because it has been broken for so long, wishes to think that this insanity can stop. Victor takes a stride toward me, his gaze never leaving mine. He goes on, "All you have to do is come with me, Aurora," in a flattering, manipulative tone. "We can govern together, you and I. The others? They are irrelevant. The person I desire is you. I need someone like you." The words hit my chest like a fist. The weight of his promises is tugging at me, and I can feel my heart thumping in my ears. He is more than simply a danger to my pack. Everything I've ever believed in is under danger because of him. He is attempting to convince me that I am nothing without him, and that my value is dependent on him. However, I am not his. I will never be. My voice is no more than a whisper as I shake my head. "I'll never be yours, Victor." For a split second, Victor's smile wavers, but it soon reappears, darker and colder than before. He adds, "We'll see," in a venomous voice. "We'll see." The ground trembles beneath us as a roar pierces the air before I can catch my breath again. Callum's eyes are burning with rage as he charges toward Victor, and I look at him. He doesn't think twice. He doesn't hold off till I respond. To keep me safe, he will stop at nothing. However, a rogue jumps at me from the side and a shadow darts from behind as Callum surges forward. I hit the ground hard with a thud as its enormous shape rams into me. My side erupts in pain, but I don't have time to notice. My dagger goes up in self-defense as my body responds instinctively. Aiming for my throat, the renegade whips its jaws at me, but I manage to sidestep it just in time. I cut its face with my dagger, but it's insufficient. Its claws scrape my flesh as it growls and snaps once again. Trying to get some distance, I scramble backward, but adrenaline is blurring my eyesight. My heart is pounding, and I'm terrified. Screams, snarls, and the sound of bones cracking are all part of the war going on all around me, but it doesn't matter. I'm by myself. Once more. And I won't live if I don't fight. I pull myself up and drive my blade into the rogue's chest with my remaining might. I keep going even if it cries in agony and staggers back. I lunge once more, this time aiming for its throat, and the hit lands. Dead, the rogue collapses to the ground. However, the triumph is fleeting. I look up with a sinking heart when I hear a laugh, a dark, mocking chuckle. Victor is standing there looking at me with a laugh in his eyes. The carnage doesn't even seem to bother him. His words, "You're strong, Aurora," are laced with sinister gratification. But strength won't save you now. Another rogue attacks me from the shadows before I can react or even answer. And this time, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to repel it on my own. A desperate fight. As it charges with its teeth bared and saliva streaming from its mouth, the rogue's eyes pierce mine. I automatically sidestep, my heart hammering against my ribs, but the beast is faster than I thought. The air is knocked out of my lungs as it crashes into me. Pain shooting through my chest, I fight to stay upright as the forest spins. The rogue is unrelenting as I swing my knife, aiming for its throat. Snarling, it dodges and pushes me back toward the trees. The impact's force causes my eyesight to blur, and for a split second, I worry that I won't survive this battle. My feet slip on the blood-slick floor as I scramble. Even if my breathing is labored, I don't give up and continue to move. It's no longer just about me. It's about defending my pack and those who have battled beside me. I cannot allow Victor to triumph. I lift my dagger, the blade gleaming in the moonlight, as the rogue lunges once more. I swing it as hard as I can with what little strength I have left. A deep gash is caused when the point strikes the rogue's side. I feel a moment of relief as it stumbles backward and cries in agony. However, such respite is fleeting. Beside me, a flurry of movement occurs, and all of a sudden, the rogue is no longer a danger. In the confusion of combat, Bennett's figure looms, his body a shadowy darkness. With ruthless accuracy, he cuts through the rogue's side with his claws before it falls to the ground, lifeless. My breath catches as a sudden surge of relief washes over me. Confusion and something more profound, something unadulterated, quickly take its place, though. Bennett's amber eyes meet me. Something is flashing there. Guilt? Feeling sorry? I am unable to tell. His breathing is shallow, and his face is strained as he approaches me. His voice is scratchy as he continues, "I won't let them take you, Aurora." Not again. His remarks were like a kick to the stomach. Everything that has happened and everything he has said weighs heavily on me. My heart tightens. I can't deny the part of me that recalls the betrayal, but I want to feel secure and like he's really on my side. The part of me that recalls his silent departure. I try to catch my breath and take a step back. I try not to tremble as I mutter, "You can't just show up now, Bennett." But my voice is shaking. After everything, following all of the falsehoods, sharp and jagged, the bitterness that has been accumulating inside of me comes out. I notice the twinge of agony in Bennett's eyes as his jaw tenses. I understand. I apologize as well. I shouldn't have gone. It's not about us, though. The goal is to save everyone we care about. Time pauses for a moment, but the war continues all around us. I'm conflicted. Even though the old pain still hurts my heart, though, I can't help but feel drawn to him. In spite of all I've told myself, it draws me in like a magnetic force. However, a loud voice breaks through the confusion before I can even react or understand my feelings. Aurora. With my blood running cold, I freeze. Dark and powerful, Victor's voice reverberates through the woodland like a blade. My eyes dart to him, and he's there, towering over the carnage, staring at me as if I were his prey. Despite the chaos all around him, he stands like a king amid wolves. A smug smirk curls his lips. "I'll spare them if you accompany me right now. Aurora, every one of them." My heart pauses for a second. Suffocating and thick, the words linger in the air. I keep thinking about his offer, a horrible temptation that feels like it might tear me to pieces. He is taking advantage of all of my uncertainties and fears. He's giving me an opportunity to put an end to this horror and save the people I love. But at what price? Bennett's body stiffens next to me, his neck muscles straining, his claws tightening at his sides. He is prepared for combat. I'm unable to concentrate on him at the moment, but I can feel the heat of his anger coming from him. Not when Victor is giving me everything I've ever desired, including the end of this conflict and the protection of my pack. His words weigh heavily on me, choking me with the choice I don't want to make. I look across the battlefield at Callum. His golden eyes, brimming with grief and warning, meet mine. He is aware of Victor's potential. He is aware that Victor won't follow through on his promises even if I agree. However, there is a part of me that wants to trust him because it has been broken for so long, wishes to think that this insanity can stop. Victor takes a stride toward me, his gaze never leaving mine. He goes on, "All you have to do is come with me, Aurora," in a flattering, manipulative tone. "We can govern together, you and I. The others? They are irrelevant. The person I desire is you. I need someone like you." The words hit my chest like a fist. The weight of his promises is tugging at me, and I can feel my heart thumping in my ears. He is more than simply a danger to my pack. Everything I've ever believed in is under danger because of him. He is attempting to convince me that I am nothing without him and that my value is dependent on him. However, I am not his. I will never be. My voice is no more than a whisper as I shake my head. "I'll never be yours, Victor." For a split second, Victor's smile wavers, but it soon reappears, darker and colder than before. He adds, "We'll see," in a venomous voice. "We'll see." The ground trembles beneath us as a roar pierces the air before I can catch my breath again. Callum's eyes are burning with rage as he charges toward Victor, and I look at him. He doesn't think twice. He doesn't hold off till I respond. To keep me safe, he will stop at nothing. However, a rogue jumps at me from the side and a shadow darts from behind as Callum surges forward. I hit the ground hard with a thud as its enormous shape rams into me. My side erupts in pain, but I don't have time to notice. My dagger goes up in self-defense as my body responds instinctively. Aiming for my throat, the renegade whips its jaws at me, but I manage to sidestep it just in time. I cut its face with my dagger, but it's insufficient. Its claws scrape my flesh as it growls and snaps once again. Trying to get some distance, I scramble backward. But adrenaline is blurring my eyesight. My heart is pounding and I'm terrified. Screams, snarls, and the sound of bones cracking are all part of the war going on all around me. But it doesn't matter. I'm by myself, once more, and I won't live if I don't fight. I pull myself up and drive my blade into the rogue's chest with my remaining might. I keep going, even if it cries in agony and staggers back. I lunge once more, this time aiming for its throat, and the hit lands. Dead, the rogue collapses to the ground. However, the triumph is fleeting. I look up with a sinking heart when I hear a laugh, a dark, mocking chuckle. Victor is standing there looking at me with a laugh in his eyes. The carnage doesn't even seem to bother him. His words, "You're strong, Aurora," are laced with sinister gratification. But strength won't save you now. Another rogue attacks me from the shadows before I can react or even answer, and this time, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to repel it on my own. A dangerous decision. I'm under pressure from the rogue, but I don't have time to reflect. No more. Everything is blending into a single chaotic jumble of snarls, blood, and desperation as the globe spins too quickly. Even if my hands shake around the dagger, I am no longer strong enough to defend myself. Not by themselves. A slight smirk tugs at Victor's lips as he stands across from me, his eyes never leaving mine. He knows. I see. He is aware of my thoughts and feelings, the decision I must make. The decision is pressing down on me like 1,000 pounds, and I can feel my chest constricting and my breathing getting short. I turn to face Callum, who has always been there for me and is my guardian. The one who, even in the most dire circumstances, has never faltered. There is something raw in his golden eyes, love, rage, and terror. His voice is low and desperate, and he tightens his hold on my arm, drawing me back slightly. Callum's voice is hardly audible above the din of the battlefield, but he whispers, "You can't go with him, Aurora. He will ruin you." His anxiety for me was evident in the way he held me, and his words were like a kick to the gut. I feel so sorry for him. for the individual he has been throughout my life, for the connection we've had from the start. However, I am aware of Victor's potential. I've witnessed it. Furthermore, there is still a part of me that secretly fears the evil Victor brings. Even if it means losing myself, that part of me is frantic to get away from it and protect the people I care about. Victor's icy, derisive voice echoes once more. Aurora, do you believe you have an option? I will always be a part of you, not when you're alive. I own you. I turn to look at Bennett again, hoping to find the one person who could help me decide. But when we look at one other, I sense only strife in his eyes. He appears to be attempting to suppress the things he knows he shouldn't speak, as seen by his furrowed brow and tightly pursed lips. There is a lot of tension between us. He has been both my buddy and my ally. However, things have evolved, and I'm not sure where we are right now. Bennett adds, his voice trembling under the weight of his words. Aurora, you will never be free if you go with Victor. You will lose everything to him. I am deeply shaken by the genuineness in his tone. I am aware that he is correct. I know deep down that there is no turning back once I go with Victor. No future. No tranquility. Victor won't give up until he has me completely. He wouldn't be content even then. He would change every aspect of me until I was no longer identifiable. However, I cannot stand the idea of losing my flock and seeing them perish as a result of my poor decision. My mind is racing, and my heart is ripped. The pack, Callum, Bennett, and even Victor's ebony eyes are all pressing down on me. All of them are waiting for me to make the unthinkable choice. At this point, the screams and growls of the combat had faded into a quiet hum in the distance. With the exception of my own heart thumping, everything seems subdued. As I search for the right words, the searing anguish in my chest feels like it would swallow me whole. I am unable to. I cannot simply watch them perish. My voice is cracked and hoarse, little more than a whisper. I can't seem to pronounce the words. I must keep them safe. My breath catches in my throat as I look between Bennett, Callum, and Victor. I must do this. For them. Even though my body is trembling and my hands are shivering, I push myself to move forward. My entire being erupts in protest. My gut tells me to fight, to stay, to turn Victor down. However, it is impossible to think properly when I consider losing everything, the pack, my friends, and the people I care about. As I approach Victor, his eyes light up with joy. He moves forward as well, the battle's shadows disappearing into the night. With a voice as soft as velvet over steel, Victor declares, "You've made the right decision. Aurora, come to me, and we will govern this universe together." I feel as like his words have unlocked a part of me that begs to come out to be free, but I'm stuck. I am unable to separate myself. Not right now. Not when I feel like I'm losing control of everything. However, something changes as I'm about to enter Victor's arms and give myself over to the darkness he provides. The shadows grow deeper and the air around me gets thicker. Victor's grin disappears. I feel the force he's concealing beneath the surface for the first time as his gaze becomes more focused. With a low, menacing voice, he whispers, "There's something you should know before you go, Aurora." My throat tightens at the words. My feet won't move, even though a part of me wants to keep moving and get away from this nightmare. With my heart thumping, I gaze at Victor. Even though his face is inscrutable, I can tell by the sparkle in his eyes that whatever he's going to say will make a huge difference. "You're not even sure who you are you?" Victor goes on in a kind, derisive tone. This is something I was going to keep secret, but now. The sneer returns to his lips as he tilts his head and observes me intently. "You're entitled to know. This is your birthright, after all." As the words sink in, a shiver goes down my spine. As I try to figure out what he means, my mind is racing. Which birthright? The ground seems to be moving, and the globe tilting underneath me. Suddenly, everything I believe to be true about myself is called into doubt. The jigsaw pieces are beginning to fit together, but I'm not sure how to put them together, so I feel my stomach turning. "You have been lying to me, haven't you?" With a quivering voice, I ask, "What are you discussing?" For a minute, I see a glimpse of something darker, something old and warped behind Victor's darkening eyes. "Aurora," he replies icily, "you're not who you think you are. You have no idea how powerful your genuine ancestry is. Haven't you always sensed it? The draw, the strength. It's not a bad thing. You were born with it. My heart stops. I can't seem to process the words, even though they keep repeating in my mind. I'm trying to make sense of the bits of information Victor is giving me, and my mind is racing. I shake my head, my mind racing with incredulity. No, that isn't feasible. My mom, she. Victor breaks in with a sarcastic chuckle. Aurora, your mother was merely a tool. She served as a tool. A movable piece in a much bigger game. I feel as though the earth has been torn out from under me and my breath catches in my throat. What are you saying? Victor approaches, his presence oppressive. Aurora, you're no ordinary wolf. You are descended from the family that formerly controlled this planet. Finally, the purebloods, I was struck by the words. Is it pure blood? Domination? I instinctively take a step back as my head spins. No. My voice quivers with shock as I whisper. That isn't possible. Victor's eyes shine with something sinister and malevolent, and his lips twist into a sly smirk. Aurora, that is the reality. You were destined to be a leader, and now that you are aware of it, doesn't it alter everything? I'm having trouble breathing. My world shatters into 1,000 fragments as my legs tremble beneath me. I have the unsteady feeling that the earth is collapsing beneath me. I don't know who I am anymore. Then I'm startled out of my reverie by the sound of frantic, urgent footsteps behind me. Aurora. Callum's voice is unfiltered and frantic. However, I don't look back. I am unable to. Not right now. Not while this fact is still bothering me. My heart is pounding as I look at Victor, and a part of me that I've worked so hard to repress questions whether he's right. What if my fate is predetermined? What if I am unable to resist? And I know then that this is only the beginning, the truth unveiled. As Victor observes me, his smile is icy, bordering on cruel. His eyes shine with contentment, and I can feel his words weighing heavily and suffocatingly on me. It feels like the earth has moved underfoot and I'm sinking into an unavoidable darkness. His cold, relentless presence hovers above me. You think you're just an ordinary wolf, Aurora? His low voice is a warning, a taunt. That is far from who you are. His words tighten with every breath, encircling me like a trap and causing every fiber in my body to clench, freezing me in place. I whisper, you don't know what you're talking about, yet something inside of me recognizes. I have a strong want to believe him, yet I am unable to do so. I won't. This isn't possible. Victor takes a stride toward us, bringing us closer. My pulse quickens as I sense the heat of his presence. His calculating, black eyes never leave me. He knows he has me where he wants me, and his smirk widens as his lips twist higher. Haven't you always sensed it? His smooth yet piercing voice slices through the atmosphere as he asks. The strength, the lineage that flows through your veins. Aurora, you possess it. You've always had it. My breath is caught in my chest as my heart beats more quickly now. What does he say? What does he want me to think? I take a wobbly step back, my feet slipping beneath me as the chilly forest air bites at my skin. But I can't get away. Not right now. Not while his words were entangling themselves in my thoughts. What are you discussing? Before I can stop myself, the words slip out of my mouth as I demand. My voice trembles, revealing my doubt and dread. What authority? What lineage? Victor's smile never wavers as his eyes harden. Aurora, your family was unique. I can see the glitter in his eyes as he stops, the gratification of someone who knows he's just pushed me over the edge. The last of his kind, a bloodline capable of commanding packs, was your father, and now you are infused with that power. The earth sways. The words keep repeating in my head as the ground underneath me seems to move. The last of his type was your father. I'm not sure how to feel. Everything I believed I knew about myself is disintegrating around me like dust in the wind, and my brain is spinning. No, I sigh, shaking my head in an attempt to ignore and push it away. No, it isn't feasible. My dad was nothing more than a beast. Victor laughs ominously, his tone a velvet menace. They intended for you to think that. They led you to believe that. Aurora, however, your father wasn't your typical wolf. He came from a family that had the power to manipulate and control packs, a force capable of controlling every wolf in every area. And it's yours now. He knocks the wind out of me with his remarks, which hit me like a blow to the chest. My thoughts are racing as I attempt to comprehend the seriousness of what he is saying. My dad was more than simply a wolf. He was more than that, and that same power is within me. I. What does that signify, though? What is altered? I have the need to believe him. Deep within, there's a glimmer of something related to what he's saying. Something ancient and terrible pulses through my veins, giving me a sense of life. However, the burden of everything else, the betrayal, the dread, the confusion, buried that aspect of myself. I mumble, "You're lying," but even I can detect the skepticism in my voice. This isn't possible. Victor takes another stride toward me, getting so near that I can feel the heat emanating from him. I feel the full power of his presence for the first time as his sharp, unwavering gaze clamps into mine. I keep my eyes on it. I am unable to. Not right now. With a dangerously composed tone, he asks, "Do you really think I'd lie to you about something like this? Your ancestry is the reason behind everything you are and everything you've been avoiding. You're more than a lost wolf. The lost heir is you. The one has the power to alter everything." My knees begin to give out, and the weight of his words threatens to bring my body to its knees. I feel as though the understanding is drowning me in the dense air surrounding me. I possess this strength and this lineage. What does that signify, though? And what should I do with it? My mind is racing with 1,000 questions, but none of them make sense. None of them assist me in determining my next course of action. Given the truth Victor is exposing, I feel tiny and unimportant. However, my throat tightens as I struggle to speak. Why didn't I know about this power if I truly possess it? How come he didn't inform me? Victor cocks his head and examines me as if I were a riddle he has been attempting to solve. Your dad didn't want you to be aware. He was aware of the consequences of discovering the truth too soon. He protected you and shielded you from the world that would pursue you. His statements become more menacing as his voice becomes lower. And you're not just anybody anymore. Aurora, you hold the secret to everything. Everything. Unable to comprehend it, I shake my head once more. What is the key? What are you discussing? Victor takes a small step back, his eyes fluttering with laughter. The future's key. Oh, to an alternate reality in which wolves are not enslaved to their groups. It might be you who ushers in a new era, Aurora, a period of domination, control, and power. I can feel the words chewing at me, making my stomach turn. It sounds like a dream to have the ability to control and dominate. However, I'm not sure if I want it. I'm not sure if I can handle it. With a quivering voice, I say, "You want me to take that power, to put it to use, to govern." However, I no longer even recognize myself. For a brief moment, Victor's eyes soften, and he reaches out to lightly touch my arm. Aurora, you've always known who you are. You've always sensed it in your heart. The link to something bigger, something outside of the flock. This is your birthright, this bloodline, this strength. Do you not see? Everything you've ever desired is yours. You are not limited to being a wolf. My breath is shallow and my heart is pounding as I draw away from him. I'm tempted by the idea of having such power and the capacity to alter everything. But at what price? I turn to see Bennett and Callum standing behind me, both of them staring with fear and worry in their eyes. Callum has a worried expression on his face and a tense, action-ready body. Bennett is standing a bit more back, his gaze darting between Victor and me, his face unreadable. The power within me has always made me fearful. I'm scared of what it might entail for myself and the people I love. However, I've come to the realization that the dread has evolved. It is no longer a fear of power per se. I'm afraid of what I might lose if I give in, what I might forfeit if I allowed Victor to rule me. I inhale deeply as I attempt to regain my balance and find my footing in the confusion all around me. However, I'm not sure which way is up because everything is whirling. If you're telling the truth, my voice trembles as I murmur, so what happens now? What are you looking for from me? Victor takes another step forward, his eyes shining with a sinister light that makes me feel extremely cold. Aurora, I want you to come. I want you to accept your ancestry and your fate. We can change everything if we work together. His comments loom large and oppressive in the atmosphere. The weight of his request is too much to bear. It seems like the ultimate temptation to join him, to accept this authority, to take charge. But I am aware that it is a trap. I am aware that there will always be a price for Victor. Furthermore, I'm not sure if I'm prepared to pay it. Now that the truth is in front of me, I have a decision to make that could affect the course of the future. Specifically, will I be strong enough to make the proper choice? But at what price? A power unleashed. I stand still, my heart thumping in my chest, the air around me heavy, almost oppressive. My thoughts and basic life are constantly under strain from Victor's words, which linger in the air. Deep within me, I sense a force that is new to me, power that is unbridled and raw, calling to me. Callum puts his hand in mine and wraps his fingers firmly around my wrist, bringing me back to the here and now. Though I can feel the tremble of worry coursing through him, his grip is strong. He draws me away, obscuring my eyes from Victor's piercing stare. Aurora, don't listen to him. He's telling lies. Although Callum's voice is urgent, I was surprised by how deeply it conveys desperation. It's difficult to cling to that right now, even though his comments are meant to reassure me and remind me of who I am and have always been. Because what Victor is saying seems too real. For a second, I want to believe Callum when I look at him. Even while I want to fully trust him, I can feel the change, the flashing of something dangerous beneath my skin, and my body is betraying me. The faint sound of Victor's voice, like a whisper on the wind, reverberates in my head. Don't you sense it? The power that is just waiting to be released. The words hover about me, encroaching on my thoughts like tentacles, pulling at an inexplicable thing. I can't stop the storm that is building inside of me. I'm not sure if I ought to attempt at all. Either my head is spinning, or the world around me is. I try to stabilize myself by closing my eyes and breathing shallowly, but the sensation just gets stronger the more I try to ignore it. Callum reiterates, "Don't listen to him," his words piercing my mind like a lifeline. His eyes are desperate as he draws me in. "He's manipulating your thoughts, Aurora. You are not this. You aren't a weapon to be used." However, I sense it. I can feel the heat of something strong seething inside of me, just waiting to explode. It's no longer only in my head. It's in my blood and the air I breathe. Every fiber in my body seems to be electrified, electric, and vibrating with an uncontrollable energy. When I look into Callum's eyes, I briefly notice the fear for me, in his eyes. I am aware that he fears the potential consequences of this power and what it might do to me. But when it's speaking to me so loudly, how can I ignore it? Victor gives us a chilly, contented smile, as if he's already won and the game is done before it's even started. He moves closer, his presence oppressive and towering, his eyes never leaving mine. "Aurora, don't you feel it?" He has a low, silky voice that glides across jagged edges. "You have it in your blood, just waiting to be let go. All you need to do is accept it." His words pierce my heart, and I gulp hard, my pulse pounding in my chest. I wish to resist. I want to shout, yell, and shove him away. However, as I sense the stirrings of this power intensifying within me and straining the boundaries of my control, I am unable to ignore the truth in his voice. I try to put some distance between myself and the tempest raging inside of me by taking a step back. However, Callum's firm touch and tighter hold on my hand serve as a reminder of the outside world and the security I've become accustomed to. His tone is resolute and forceful. Callum whispers, "You're not alone in this, Aurora," his eyes beseeching me. "Together we will confront this. This is not required of you. He is not required to be heard." His words resonate deeply within me, reminding me of all the things I've sought and worked for. However, Victor's smooth and forceful voice breaks the stillness and reverberates in my ears like an unanswerable appeal. "Aurora," Victor murmurs, his voice now more appealing and demanding. "You don't need to struggle with it, yet everything you've ever desired is yours. Strength, command, a location where hiding is no longer necessary. Simply accept who you are and have always been. You have the entire world to yourself." My body trembles beneath the weight of his words, and my pulse quickens. Like a magnetic force pulling me in, I can hear their might and sense their pull deep inside me. The promise of something bigger, something darker, appears to be vibrating through the air around us. I cannot, however, forget who I am and have always been. I briefly close my eyes, obstructing Victor's words, in an attempt to get the clarity I require. Callum, Bennett, and the people who have supported me come to mind. I consider the family I've created and the pack I've battled to save. I can't discard everything. With my heart hurting from the weight of this choice, I return my attention to Callum. He is correct. I'm not the only one. I don't have to confront this gloom by myself. Victor then moves forward, his eyes never leaving mine, and his words becomes barely audible, almost like a promise. Aurora, you want independence. Being a wolf isn't what you want, do you not? That's something I can provide. I'm willing to give you everything. You only need to grasp my hand. Like poison oozing into my blood, his words ingrain themselves deeply into my thoughts. I'm momentarily stunned by the overpowering urge. What if he's correct? Could this be my fate? What if I'm supposed to be more than just a wolf and a guardian? My breath catches in my chest as I glance up at Victor. Confusion and fear rage within of me, threatening to engulf me. Though my mind is racing, I am unable to locate the solution. I'd like to fight. I wish to resist. However, I can't ignore the force that is rushing through me, tearing down my barriers and clamoring for freedom. What are you looking for from me, I ask, hardly raising my voice above a whisper. I glance at him, searching his eyes for the truth, and the inquiry trembles on my lips. Uncertain and desperate, I see a glimpse of something darker in Victor's eyes as his smile broadens. His voice is full of promise and something too risky to ignore as he whispers, I want you to embrace your destiny. I want you to support me in ruling. We will create a new planet together, a world in which hiding is no longer necessary, where you are free to be who you were always intended to be. Every beat feels like a countdown as my heart thuds in my chest. There is a great temptation to submit to authority and take Victor's side. However, I am aware that I am battling for something more significant and profound. I have a family, a bundle, a goal. However, what if my role is to support him? What if all of my self-perceptions are incorrect? Victor's eyes shine with triumph, as if he already knew the solution. But now I'm not so sure. I feel as though I'm standing on the brink of something too vast to comprehend, and the world is changing beneath my feet. I inhale deeply as I try to gather my thoughts and regain my bearings. However, I can feel the decision's weight bearing down on me with each second that goes by, and I am aware that the answer is on the horizon, and I'll have to deal with the fallout when it happens. But at what price? Victor's dark, sardonic smirk endures as though he had already triumphed. I'm not prepared to give up, though. Not quite yet. Although I own the power, it is not solely his to manage. I own it, and I'm not going to let him take it away, not without a struggle.